big bang in India's startup universe? It probably began right here in Bangalore's Koramangala neighborhood. Bangalore is India's Silicon Valley and drives a ton of the country's technological growth. We're here in Bangalore to see what this startup city is all about. Financial technology, or fintech. Investors say that this is the next segment that's going to launch the leap in startups across the country. We're here in Bangalore, and we're here to unveil to you a startup that promises to help us make more prudent, judicious financial decisions. I don't know about you, but that's the sort of thing that I could really use. This is MoneyView, your personal money manager. Let's put them to the test and see if they can help me manage my funds a little better.
Financial planning is like a game of chess. Chalk out a winning plan, identify your moves in advance, remove the barriers and hit the goal. Checkmate.
Can a startup help you manage your funds better or even help you be more financially sound? Now that sounds like the work of a big bank. But these two founders are creating a platform which can act as your personal money manager. Easier said than done, we think, but let's get acquainted with them. This is MoneyView. Meet Puneet Agarwal, an IIT graduate with more than 15 years of experience in the space of financial and consumer technology. He has worked with the bigwigs, including Google and McKinsey. Puneet is a staunch believer in the startup ecosystem and believes that financial technology will see the next big idea out of India. And marching forth with him is Sanjay Agarwal, the co-founder at MoneyView. Sanjay happens to be a technologist at heart and an entrepreneur by design and was one of the early employees at Infosys. His expertise in scaling up startups has helped MoneyView scale up, and how.
So MoneyView is a personal money management app which allows users to take control of their finances. Out of the box, it will help people get a complete consolidated view of their finances. And as people start getting more visibility into their finances, how where their money is lying, how much money is going out, they will become more responsible towards their money, and that will lead to more savings. We want to make India financially fit.
Making India financially fit. Now that is one bold ambition. Established in 2014, this Bengaluru-based venture operates in the space of technology-based financial management. And the MoneyView mobile app is where all the action happens. Available on Android, the app uses information from SMSs sent by banks, merchants and other billers that are otherwise lying dormant in an inbox to interpret and aggregate the financial activity of the user. That's you. And through the app, you can get a real-time single view of all your money across multiple bank accounts, investments, loans, and you can auto-track expenses, pay bills, track reimbursements, and even make some tax-saving investments. As far as statistics go, the app has around 5 million registered users. And in order to reach out to more cities across the country, the MoneyView app is now available in 6 regional languages: Hindi, Gujarati, Bengali, Tamil, Telugu, and Kannada, apart from English, of course.
So we are a very technology-focused company, kind of using technology in a very big way. There are great financial products already available in India, right? But as I said, they are actually targeted towards a small segment of the Indian population right now. So by really kind of reduce the friction and the cost associated with getting these products out to the masses, and that's only possible through use of technology.
But like every other segment in the startup world, even financial technology is becoming overcrowded with players, both big and small. Want to pay bills or recharge your phone? Use Paytm or MobiKwik. Cashback players, mobile wallets, and most fintech startups are now scaling up and trying to gobble up market share. So MoneyView too is competing in a very busy space. So we wonder, what gives MoneyView a competitive edge?
For the existing financial institutions to be able to take their products to a large masses, the solution has to be able to scale with low cost. And I think that's the void that we are filling. We are also able to understand the needs of users much better, and so we will be able to provide very personalized and very customized solutions which will fit the user's needs much better.
Well, the objective of the app is to help you manage, save, and even grow your money. And the company earns a commission from the asset management company for every investment made on the app. And as far as privacy goes, the app does not have full account numbers on it and never reads out the one-time password information sent by a bank, claims the company. And even uses bank-level data encryption and allows you to set a PIN on the app for added protection. Now we've become familiar with the platform and its incentives, here is what we want to know. How will Moneyview make India financially fit through an app? Does this venture compete with the services provided by banks and their portfolio managers? Does Moneyview have a scalable revenue model? How does this startup make money?
How is Moneyview going to make India financially fit through an app?
400 million people have bank accounts in India. 300 million people have smartphones, and everybody wants to manage their finances. But nobody really wants to put in the work. So if there was a way for you to take out all the effort from this and just, if somebody could manage your finances automatically, voila, you've got the answer there. And that's what Moneyview really is trying to do. You know, it's starting with a solution which takes all the effort from managing your finances.
Does Moneyview compete with the products and services that banks provide their customers?
We actually think of banks and other financial institutions as our partners. We are in the business of helping an average Indian become financially fit. And one of the big aspects of making them financially fit is to have them access to great financial products. So banks and financial institutions are the manufacturers of those products, and we see ourselves as a distribution partner for those banks and financial institutions to help them get those products out to as many people as possible in a more cost-effective manner.
So how does your revenue model work?
Every time the consumers consume this product, we earn some revenue from our financial partners for distributing those products out to the users.
So then with a revenue model like that, are you guys making money?
We are not profitable yet, but with the introduction of new such financial products that our consumers can consume through our app, we hope to become profitable in the near future.
I really do think that an app like Moneyview would help me stay on top of my finances, and the design is really gorgeous. But the question of privacy still remains. I guess I feel a little unsettled by just how much information you can extract from my SMSs. That's what I think. Let's hear what the mentors have to say.
Hailing from Harvard Business School, this is Ravi Gururaj, a mentor to many flourishing startups in the country. Ravi is the chairman of the NASSCOM Product Council as well as a founder of a startup called QuickPod that is building parcel delivery lockers. Meet Ashish Taneja, co-founder and managing director of GrowX Ventures, an early-stage investment firm. Ashish works with a plethora of startups very closely and has a keen eye to spot the one in a million, or in our case, one in a billion.
I think they need to think through adjacent products quickly so that they can leverage their user base, their early user base, into other areas. I'm sure they're thinking about that, and I think that will be an area of opportunity for them to grow the product out.
I think the biggest thing for me is regulatory challenge. The second thing for me is, people like the idea of trying to explore where the money is being spent upfront, but they're not into the habit of using it on a regular basis. It needs to be very clear what the value proposition is. It needs to be articulated upfront, which allows them to retain users and keep doing more and more with that user.
Education technology startups are transforming the way we learn. These days, students want to control how and what they learn, and investors are taking notice. Today, in State of the Startup, let's find out what education startups are changing the way the country learns.
Gone are the days when big fat school books, crowded tuition centers and learning guides were the only method for students to achieve those high-flying marks and gold-starred report cards. An emerging segment in which startups are making strong inroads and attracting parents, students and teachers is the competitive segment called education technology. We've already shown you the story of Talent Edge on Unicorn, a venture which makes virtual and interactive learning simple through its cloud campus technology solutions. And there are several more edtech startups changing the way students learn, understand concepts better using digital aids and get their strengths and weaknesses analyzed. Content is engineered for each student. So can edtech startups change the way India learns?
Education and technology is the future of India, but the fundamental issue is you cannot change an education behavior or an expectation for a long time to come, right? I need a classroom for discipline. I need a certain dedicated time to be able to study. I need to be confident that when I'm coming to an online education system, it will give me the same opportunities that a brick and mortar education pass out will get. So I think these are the questions that the startups need to answer.
Point noted. As long as edtech startups answer these pertinent questions, they're here to stay, it seems. Another edtech startup which is a favorite in the segment is Byju's, which employs original content, graphics and videos to explain concepts, making learning contextual and visual.
There's a huge need for technology to make a change in the K-12 educational space, how the education will be delivered, what children need to learn and they don't need to be taught. I think all of that needs to come into a framework. So I think it is one sort of an open sector where a lot needs to be done. From my standpoint, I think one of the most revolutionary edtech companies I have met in the recent times is Byju classes. They're I would say they are really the Khan Academy of India.
The one big wave is probably content, being able to create money. So Byju is an excellent example. People were also always skeptical of whether content can create money, and Byju has probably proved it otherwise, that it can actually, people are willing to pay for sort of premium content.